Right, prior to collecting your Just Roam motorhome, we'd like you to watch these small videos on how the motorhome works. It's a run through of what we do on handover day, but if you watch these videos it makes the handover a lot smoother and a lot quicker. First thing we'll do is run through the outside of the van, how it works, how you unlock it, how you work the various systems on the van. So, we will give you on the day the keys to your motorhome. On the keys, you will have 2 keys. One key is your habitation key, the small one. This works everything behind the cab. This unlocks your doors, unlocks your lockers, unlocks your water. The other key we will give you is your engine key, your starter key. This works everything forward, opens your diesel cap, starts your engine, and locks and unlocks your motorhome. It doesn't lock the rear of the van up, so always make sure you lock it with that. You might ask us for 2 sets of keys. We can't do that. What you can do while you're away, if 2 people are going to be back to the motorhome at different times, just split these keys up. One person takes one key, lets himself in the front. One person takes the other key, lets himself in the back. Please don't lose this key. If you do, it's got a little tag with our name and contact details on, and that also gives a little reward if someone was to find it to a kids' hospice in Liverpool. Okay? Right, starting with this key, this opens your gas locker and your doors. First off, lock, it's locked, unlock. Next thing, every motorhome has multiples of these locks on them, on the lockers. This one happens to be on your gas locker door. To open it, put the key in, unlock it, then turn the catch, which opens that. This then opens the locker, and in this one, you've got your gas bottle. Whilst we're here on the gas bottle, when you arrive at site or arrive at home and you're not on hookup, just turn your gas on by twisting that small knob. This means you will have heating, hot water, and be able to use the fridge if you're not plugged into the mains. Secondly, before you leave, make sure before you drive on the road this gas bottle must be turned off. So just turn that knob. As some people say to us, turn it right for tight. Turn that off. Your gas is now off, it's isolated from the van and completely safe. When that's done, lock the locker, and you'll notice that doesn't push in. To push the latch in, put the key in and lock it again. And this time it's locked. Perfect. Okay, walking around the van, you'll notice you've got all these windows. On the back of the van, these must be locked when you're driving. Little kids tend to leave these catches open. Just do a quick walk around and make sure that they are locked before you drive off. If these windows are open, they can snap, and that's what leads to problems. You'll also notice some of these flaps. This one here is for your hookup lead. Right? So when you get to your campsite, get your hookup lead, plug it into the van, clip it on there, and clip it in at the campsite. When that's done, just connect it all up and connect the campsite last. Before you leave the campsite, you want to press that button there, pull your hookup lead, and re-roll it back up. Okay? Get into the back of the van. They've all got lockers. This is our 747 model. This lock is slightly smaller than the other models, but the same principle applies with the locks. Turn to unlock and use your key to pop the lock in. We'll just open this one, show you what we supply. In the back, you will notice we have silver screens. These are for fitting to the inside of the van. They go on the front windscreen and the front side windows. They give you privacy and they keep the heat in and the heat out. Please look after them and use them when you need to. Secondly, we also have a step ladder in certain vans. It's only small. This is for the drop down bed in the lounge. Some people need it, some people don't. Okay? We also have this little bag, which people always ask us. What's in here are your wedges. Now, if you're not familiar with motorhomes, all you do with the wedges, take them out of the bag when you get to your site, and you'll notice that the van's not level. It's leaning forward slightly. All you need to do is take these wedges, one each, and place them under the front wheels like so, and just drive the van forwards on them. That will level the van off, so everything like your sink, your shower and your beds will all be level, so it works a little bit easier. Okay?
So just little bits like this you can cut in between, you just cut them off.
Okay.
Add a little transition with these.
Moving on to the other side of the van. Again, we'll open this locker. I've got more equipment in here. In here, if you go into a festival, we supply water carriers because you can't always drive the van to the hose pipe points at a festival. So just ask us. If it's a festival, we'll supply these sanitised drums, and it helps you top your water up without having to drive away from the pitch. But for a normal campsite, we also supply a hose pipe with all the attachments, your hookup lead, which is good to go for campsites if you need hookup, and we also provide a funnel if using that, and we also supply outdoor furniture, table and as many camping chairs as you have guests. Okay, on this side of the van we also have our water fill point. Generally we'll supply the van with a quarter to a third of a tank of water. It's pretty pointless, depending where you're going, driving across the country with 100 kilos of extra weight when you can fill up when you get to that point. All you need to do to fill the water is get the hose pipe, attach it at your destination, and just fill the tank till it overflows. There is very, very little to it. We do ask that you keep an eye on the water cap and don't lose it. Right. On this van, you'll also notice on all vans we have these. This is the flue for the heating. Now, same as your house, the fumes coming out of it are not good if breathed in. So, with this window, they all have a safety switch. If you leave this window open, your heating won't work. So, before you call us, if your heating's not working and you've got no hot water, please make sure that the window nearest the flue for the heating is closed. Whilst we're on this side of the van here, and it changes from van to van, but it's the same principle, we have a handle just underneath here, normally with a green sticker that says wastewater empty handle. Right, this is for your grey waste. Your grey waste is your sink, your shower, your hand basin. Generally at a campsite you just need to empty that grey waste above a grid that's specified by the campsite. All you need to do that is just grab the handle and pull it, and the water empties out from under the van down the grid. That is not your toilet waste. It's just stuff that's been in the sink and the shower. Getting to the toilet waste, you'll notice this locker door. Right? This is the magical toilet cassette that everyone worries about. It's very easy to use. We put a sticker on the inside of each one with hints, tips, things to do, things not to do. But effectively, to empty the toilet cassette, all you need to do is go to the campsite's sanitation point, take the cassette out. This one's empty, but if it was full, take it out, take it into the toilet point, unscrew this lid, like so, put the lid safely to one side, lids off, and hold this blue button down. This is an air release. At the sanitation point, tip the toilet cassette over, rinse and shake it empty. Put more water in it and rinse and shake and empty again. At this point, lay the cassette down turn this blue button and open it. Inspect the cassette inside to make sure it's empty of any residue. Then close it and close it again. Again, don't use baby wipes in it, please. If you do, you'll be bringing it back to us, offering to pay to have it cleaned, because it clogs the mechanism and stops it working. The other thing is, please try not to use too much toilet paper inside it. You don't have to use special toilet paper, just cheap toilet paper is fine. We supply the chemicals, and all the chemicals are inside, and in a minute I'll show you how you put the chemicals in when you've cleaned and emptied the toilet. The other thing that we ask is when you bring the van back to us, as well as this being clean and empty, we ask that inside the locker is cleaned and wiped down, just in case you've overfilled this and there's a little flood. Okay? Also, when you're done with the cassette, always please make sure that you lock it. Okay? Moving round to the back of the vehicle again. All of our vehicles are fitted with...
1 minute. Right, the
Okay.
back of the vehicle.
All of our vehicles are fitted with high-level reversing cameras. They're also fitted with low-level parking sensors. Right? The parking sensors don't take into account the bike rack. So please be mindful, if they're beeping, the parking sensors are a good foot away from where the bike rack is. The parking sensors only work to 2 foot tall as well. We'd also ask you to be careful that the high level reversing camera doesn't take into account high branches on the top corners. Yeah? So just be mindful when you're reversing. If you're not sure, if you're too close, just be careful. Parking sensors and reversing cameras are there for a guide only. Okay? Here we have the bike rack. It's free for anyone to use. It's very, very simple. All we ask you to do is just be mindful when you open the bike rack out, like so. Whichever bike you put closest to the vehicle, please turn the handlebars away so it can't impact the body or impact the windows. When you're putting a bike on the bike rack, all you need to do is release these catches like so. Put the wheels in either end. And this top bar here, same principle. Connect the top bar by there, pull it tight. Same with these around the wheels. You can carry on all of our bike racks up to 4 bikes. Okay? Moving around this side of the vehicle again. Down to the front. You'll notice all of our vehicles have these large mirrors and mirror caps. It's not unusual for a mirror to take a strike from an oncoming vehicle, especially around Cornwall and Scotland. That's why we fit these mirror guards. We do ask, if it happens to you, just please pick up the bits of the mirror, bring them back to us. In general, it's not expensive to fix the mirrors, and it's in the paperwork about how we do it and how we charge for it. Okay? Also, at the front of the vehicle, you'll notice where the rear view mirror is, we also fit a dash camera. This is a fleet dash camera. It's locked. It only comes on with the ignition, and it only records in the event of an impact. And at that point, it records 10 minutes before and up to 20 minutes afterwards. It protects our insurance, but it also protects the customer's deposit, and it's helped in a few cases already over the last 18 months where there may have been an argument over who was to blame over a mirror, etc., and it turned out our customers were fully protected, so they got their full deposits back. Okay? Again, at the front of the vehicle, you've got a skylight. That can be opened from the inside, but like everything else, we do ask that you ensure it's closed before you drive away. Okay? whilst we're at the front of the vehicle, I'll just go over some of the driver controls for you. And this is everything I would do on the day, but it's just handy if I tell you now. Now, speaking about the mirrors, the vans have four.
There we go.
The vans have 4 mirrors. We have an upper, a lower mirror. These can all be adjusted from the driving seat. So, you'll notice here we have a joystick. We can turn that to the lower right, the upper left, or the lower left. Please, before you drive off, ensure that you can see the lower side and the upside of each van. Unlike a car, you can't look over your left shoulder or your right shoulder to see through the windows, hence having very large mirrors. On the inside of the van, you'll also notice that the handbrake is to the right hand side of the driver, along with the seat adjustment here. Just be careful, if you've got captain's chairs and you're turning it round, the vehicle has to be chocked because you have to release this handbrake. Also be careful of the handbrake. Jumping out with shorts on, you can catch it on the handbrake, so just be careful of that. Okay? Lower down on this step, that is not to be stood on. It's not a step. It will break if you stand on it, so just be careful if someone's lacking a bit of mobility that they don't stand on there. If they are lacking mobility, speak to us. We can always give you a step to help up into the van. Okay? When we get into the van, it's standard driver controls. If you've not driven a commercial vehicle before, it's very, very easy. All of our vans are fitted with cruise control, speed limiter, indicators are in the normal position as per any vehicle. We also fit them with a Bluetooth stereo, so you can use your phone safely. And we'll also fit them with the reversing camera, which comes on when you put the vehicle into reverse. The other thing I'd like to point out that everyone uses, if you do use a sat-nav or you use your phone for your sat-nav, all the Fiat Ducatos have this very handy gadget. Just pull it up from the dashboard, pull this lever, and it allows you to fit your phone into the dashboard and use it as a sat-nav, as well as a USB charger just here. Expect the van to get 28 to 30 to the gallon on any trip. They do have a small tank, so it will only cost you £70 to fill it up, and expect to get about 300 miles from that tank, driving carefully. Apart from that, we just ask you to take careful, and before you drive off, check our checklist. Just slow down a little bit, have a little look. Electric cable unhooked and stowed. Your fridge is set to the correct settings, which I'll cover later on in the video. Your water tanks are drained if necessary, and importantly, your windows and skylights are closed and locked. And if you've got passengers in the back, ensure the habitation door is locked. Your gas bottle is turned off, and your cupboards and TV are stowed correctly. Also, on longer journeys, especially those through country roads, please make sure the toilet's emptied, otherwise you can get a bit of splashage out the cassette. Okay? Also, before you leave a pitch, just have a make sure you haven't left a hookup lead or any camping furniture. Okay? Also, we give you the length of the motorhome. None of ours are over 7.5 metres. They're all 2.5 metres wide, and they all, in general, come in at 3 metres high. So watch out for low bridges, low branches, and tight squeezes. Also, as well as your rental agreement showing the breakdown information, it's also here on the sun visor. They're all new vehicles and they're all covered by Fiat themselves. Okay, so that covers the driver controls and how you go about driving the van. Let's go inside the back and we'll go over how all the systems work inside.
Go on.
When you enter your motorhome, there's a few things we've got to show you. We've got the control panel up there, got your fridge there. They're the most technical things. Apart from that, everything else is pretty simple. Starting with your windows. So from the outside, we showed you these catches. Please make sure they're closed before you drive off. Same thing, you also have fly screens on all the windows, which you can pull down and latch if it's hot. You've also got night blinds which push up and lock. Just be careful with kids fiddling with these. They can be a bit delicate, so just be gentle with them. Okay? As we move further down the van, first off we've got our control panel. Now, I'm going to run you through this control panel. It's going to take a couple of minutes, but it's worth watching. So, we're just going to turn it off now. So when you enter your van, there's no lights on, there's nothing working. The van has 2 batteries. One is the starter battery, one is the leisure battery for everything working in the back of the van. Now, you will not flatten the starter battery with anything you do in the back of the van. When you come in, turn it on with this switch. So that's off. So you come in, turn that on. And then as you look down, each side, each of these buttons performs a different function. Now the one with the tap on turns your water pump on. You will push that and you will hear the water pump pumping as it primes the system. The next one is a little outside light for when you're in the darker part of the country. The next one is your interior lights. Press that and then we have light switches all around the van. Some are mounted on the lights themselves, some are on normal switches which you'll recognise from your home. Okay? In general, we would have the pump on and the water and the lights on. For making the video, I'm just going to turn the pump off because of the noise. So, here, this is flashing. At the minute, it's showing us we've got no fresh water. The blue light, S1 there, meaning 0%, means there's 0 fresh water in. If we press this button once, that will show us the water level. The water level goes 0, 33%, 66 or 99%. Generally, you have 100 litres of fresh water. That should last a couple of days for people staying in a motorhome and not being conservative with its use. If you press it again, the symbol here goes red, and this shows you your grey water level. Red being for dirty water. Again, you've got 100 litres, so as your fresh water goes down, your grey water goes up. And generally, it changes at 33, 66 or 99%. The last 2 buttons are your battery levels. So this one with the little caravan symbol is your leisure battery. This runs everything in the back. Your lights, your TV, the fan on the heating system, it runs all of that. If you press it once, it just shows a voltage, which means nothing to most people. Press it twice and it gives you a percentage. At the minute, we're at 98% because we've got a good solar panel on the top and the van's been driven for a bit, which has charged it up. And lastly, this one just shows us the van battery. This is the battery that starts your engine and runs all the accessories at the front. Press that again, and again, we're at 100%. That is how you use the controls of the van. Now, moving further down the van, we have the bed configuration. Now, depending on the van you hire, depends on what bed configuration you've got. In general, this appears in most motorhomes. You can make this into a bed quite easily. Simple principle is fold this leg, unhook the table, remove these cushions off either side and hook the table on the lower bracket just there. Yeah. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to make the bed up because it will take too long, but the idea is quite simple. The other thing I'd point out while here is people must only travel in seated belts. So if there is a seat belt, they can travel here, and they're all 3-point seat belts. There is no lap belts. Lap belts are not legal. Also, there's some seats like this which are not legal for travelling in. Please don't put extra passengers in them, etc. Moving through the van, you'll notice in the kitchen area we try and put some small discreet labels on things. You know, don't run the cooker without ventilation because obviously carbon monoxide, etc. Also, do not lower things like lids whilst the hob is hot, because in general it can break things. When you get to the cupboards around the kitchen, you'll find that we've put the full inventory in them. We always fit them with polycarbonate glasses. We supply an electric kettle. Generally the base is kept inside, so don't ring me saying the base is missing. We also supply a gas kettle in all vans for use when you're off grid, i.e. no mains hookup. As well as the gas kettle, an electric kettle, we do supply an electric toaster, again only for use on hookup. In the rest of the cupboards we supply a good supply of melamine dishes, melamine cups. You can bring your own, but we do ask you don't store them up above because they can break when they fall out. Okay? Every van has a gas hob, gas grill, so if you haven't got hookup, you can still make your toast, still make your tea, you don't need the electric. In one of the drawers local to the kitchen is a full inventory. Cutlery, spoons, bottle opener, wine opener, even a pizza slice. Lower down, pots, pans, ovens, jugs, and also a chopping board. Please be careful with the surfaces that you don't scratch them and you do use the supplied chopping board. In the cupboard of the van, somewhere, in whichever van, you'll notice there is some breakers very similar to what you'll see in your house. Very occasionally, when you hook up at a campsite, these breakers can trip. If it's the case that you hook up and there is no electric, just ensure all of these are pushed to the top. Okay? Thank you. Now, in this vehicle we have the Dometic fridge. In some of the others we have the Thetford fridge. They all work on the same principle. They're what's called a three-way fridge. That means they can work off 3 fuel sources. First off is gas. So they will run happily on gas when you've no other fuel supply. So if you parked up for a few days at a festival with no hookup or in the wilds of Scotland, you would run your fridge on gas. They would last a month, maybe 2 months on one of our gas bottles. So don't think they're going to run out. They won't. Secondly, you can't drive with the gas on, so they will run off the battery when the engine is running, and only when the engine is running, because otherwise they would flatten that battery in about an hour. Thirdly, they can also run off mains electricity, so when you are on hookup, they will automatically switch to hookup. Now with the Dometic fridge, we're just going to turn it on. So, very simple, press the power button, and you'll notice it go through a power cycle, and at the minute, because we're not on hookup, it's looking to run off gas. If we start the engine, we just press that button, so it runs on battery. At the minute the engine's not running, so it's giving us a little warning that that's not the case. Again, if we were on hookup, we would press that. What we'll do is we'll supply a small other video for the Thetford fridges because they work in slightly different manner. We're just going to turn this fridge off for the minute. To open the fridge, every fridge has a latch. I would ask, if you were travelling though, to be careful about how much heavy liquid you put in the front door of your fridge. Yeah, so just be careful with 4 pints of milk, etc., because it can put a lot of load on the door. Okay? Just going to do a little amendment to our video for some of the other vans we have. This is the Safiro van, and the control panel is a little bit different. So we're just going to turn the control panel on, and we'll put a little bit of light on in the van, and then hopefully we can see what I'm talking about. So here's the control panel. You'll notice same type of switches. Got the on button there, got the lighting circuit button there, got our water pump button there. We've got our water level pump, and you can see 33% fresh water. We've got the blue light and 33. Press it again, and we've got the red with 0%. Again, this is showing how much grey water we've got. Yeah. Press this button and it shows us the temperature inside the van. And this button shows us the battery level in the habitation battery, the leisure battery. You can tell it's that due to the little caravan symbol on the top. Okay, moving away from that, press it again and it shows you it's 76%. So plenty to last a couple of days, and that's without the solar panel topping it up. Moving on, this is the other fridge that we spoke about earlier in the video. This is our Thetford fridge. Now, moving down, the fridge has a drawer at the bottom. This is not your freezer. This is your bottle cooler. Please keep any heavy bottles, liquids in there. It stops them spilling and stops any straying on the door. Inside the fridge, if we open here, the freezer is at the top, just here, and the rest of the fridge is in the door, like so. Again, like the Dometic fridge we spoke about earlier, this fridge is a three-way fridge. Now to work it, you just need to turn it on with this small on-off button here. Just notice. So we've turned it on there, and the fridge has gone on automatic. We know it's automatic because this light's on, and it's automatically sought gas. Gas is the fuel source if the engine's not running and you're not on hookup. After a number of seconds, all the display lights have gone off. But we still know the fridge is working because the power button has a small green LED in it, as you can see there. For the next 10-15 minutes, this fridge will look for the three fuel sources. 10 minutes it'll look for gas. If it doesn't see any gas, it'll look for the engine running, look for 12 volts. If it doesn't see that, it'll quickly look for 240 volts. If it doesn't see that, the green LED in your power button will turn red. At this point, the fridge isn't working. All you need to do at this point is give it a fuel source. So, turn the gas on or start the engine. Once you've done that, just hold the power button down to turn the fridge off. That'll turn the red light off, that'll turn everything off. And then hold the power button down again to turn the fridge back on. This will restart the cycle and the fridge will look for a fuel source again. The other thing to note in our Zafiro motorhomes is the drop down bed. Again, very similar to our other vans, but the only thing is you don't remove the headrests. If you do that, you can rip the upholstery. The bed only comes down as far as the kitchen counter, which you can see there. And the other thing worth of note is the TV is mounted there, so please be careful it is clipped back before you drop the electric bed. Also in the Zafiro motorhome, you'll notice these little blue LEDs. If you just touch them, that turns on some of the additional lighting. We also have extra lights in the rear of the van, which again are touch operated, where this little symbol is. And if you just push that, that turns the additional lights on. They're the extra little features of the Zafiro van that are slightly different to the auto roller that we showed in the earlier on in the video. Again, we still give you all the heating instructions, and the kitchen has a full inventory as per all of our other vans. Hope that helps and makes it clear how all your van works. This is what every van has this year. Instead of a big overcab bed, we have these electric drop down beds. In principle, they all work the same. Just very carefully remove this cushion, place it out the way, and if needs be, grab the ladder from the boot. And very simply, to make the bed up, just hold this button down until the bed hits height. Now, we do supply all of our beds with mattress protectors. We do ask that you put a sheet on top of them so as not to damage the mattress or the mattress protector. When you've done that, you're happy to sleep on this bed, it's a full width. A 6'5" man can sleep on the full width of the van, perfectly fine. You can leave your duvet up here, you can leave the sheet up here when you put it away. And to put it away, just press this. Notice the red sign saying ensure base is clear before lowering the bed. You do have to make sure that the headrests of the front seats aren't so far back that they interrupt the bed coming down. Okay? It's perfectly fine to put the bed up with the duvet on, but please don't do it with pillows because there's not enough space for them. Store them over the cab on the sides. Around the van, you'll find these push button switches which open like this. To open anything, just push them, open them. In some of the cupboards you'll find attentions and warning stickers. You'll also find our annual gas safety certificate. All the vans are checked properly every year. Moving to the back of this van, this is where the TV, DVD, combi video is. It works off 12 volts and an aerial. Depending where you are in the country, you've probably got to retune it to get anything. You'll also notice that they all have this little ribbon underneath. Just pull that and you can pull the TV video out and move it to a more comfortable position. Ensure the clip back before you drive off. The other thing is the remotes get hidden everywhere. So just have a little scout round the cupboards to make sure they're working. The other thing is the TVs are reliant on the TV amplifier being turned on. That little blue light up there. That's wired into the lighting circuit. If your lights aren't on and that blue light isn't on, you will not get reception. So, moving round to the back of this van. This is different in every van, but in this 747, to make this rear bed up, we have these slats here that we can pull out, and we use the variety of cushions to make this into a large double bed. This works fine for most people, but we recommend using the upper. You'll also notice that on all of the vans, they're all fitted with the skylights. One thing I'd ask is before you drive off, you've got to make sure all the skylights are fully closed. So that means winding back until you hear them seal. When you open them, it's absolutely fine to have the fly screen over, and the fly screen can stay over even when you're driving. But one thing I'd say is please never ever drive with the nightlight closed. They have a vent in them, and over 50-60 mile an hour the wind pressure will break the vent. The fly screen doesn't have that issue. The air just blows straight through it and you'll have no problems. Sometimes you need to drive with them closed just to keep the shade on the drivers, especially when it's a hot day. Okay? Moving round this way, in this van we have the heating controls. The air just blows straight through it and you'll have no problems. Sometimes you need to drive with them closed just to keep the shade on the drivers, especially when it's a hot day. Okay? Moving round this way, in this van we have the heating controls. Here we have the heating controls, the Truma heater. Now, one thing I will say is some people find this complicated, so we've written a little instruction leaflet which is in all of our vans. Occasionally it does go missing and someone sticks it somewhere it shouldn't be, but it's always there and we can send you a copy if you want a copy to keep on your phone. Okay, effectively the heating runs off gas the majority of the time. We can, if you're stuck, you run out of gas, which is unusual, we can turn it to electricity, but for the purpose of this we'll run it off gas. So when you arrive at your site, you need to go into the gas locker we showed at the beginning of the video and turn the gas on. When you've turned your gas on, you've got three controls on this heating. So you've got a back button, you've got a push knob, and you've got a knob that you can turn to select. Whatever the heating is doing is shown above this line here. So for this exercise we're going to put the heating on 21 degrees. So we push the button and you'll notice the small camper van flashing here. This is your heating. Let's press that once and we'll turn that up to 20 something degrees, 21. Once we've selected that heat, we will press enter, which means it's heating to 21. Well, how do we know that? Because if we press the back button to go to the home screen, or if we just sit and wait a few minutes, the heating will return to this, and we know it's working because it's showing 21 degrees, a flame symbol, and a gas bottle. To turn that off, before you drive and turn your gas off, please go back to the caravan symbol, turn it all the way down to 0 to off, and press enter. Again, we know it's off because everything over this line is empty. Now, hot water. Same principle, except we've got the little water symbol with the thermometer. If we just move over there, we can turn that onto eco, hot, or boost. Generally, we say run it on hot. And again, you've got hot water and a gas bottle. We know it's working because it's above that line there. The hot symbol in 30 minutes will give you 15 litres of very hot water. That'll mix up to give 30 litres that is body temperature for a shower and washing dishes. Now, across the top line, you'll also notice we have this gas bottle and electric symbol. On the rare occasion you don't wish to use gas, such as an extended European tour where it's hard to replenish, you can change the fuel source from gas to mix, which is a mixture, or to pure electricity. We suggest leaving it on gas, but if needs be, if you're worried about gas running low, you can turn it to electric 1 or 2. Just put that back on. One other little trick that our heating systems have is, notice the fan at the end. You can use the fan in the heating for cooling the van down of a day. So, if we select the fan symbol as that, flashing now, we press that once, we can turn it to vent. Press it again, and it takes us to off, and we can change the speed. And we're going to turn that up to 10, which is the fastest. You can't run this with your heating or with your hot water on. What it actually does, it uses the fan in the heater to draw cold air or cooler air from underneath the van in the shade and distribute it through the heating system to knock a few degrees off the van. If it's particularly warm, 30 degrees plus, we do recommend turning this on, because things like your fridge, etc., will work a lot more efficiently. And it just makes the van a bit more easy to use in warmer climates. If there's any issues, please look at these instructions. It does work through it simply, as well as this video. Thanks. Here's the bathroom. It all works on the same principle. So, you'll notice we've got a small shower screen. Some of the vans are also fitted with the duckboard in the base of the shower. Before you use the shower, remove that. We also recommend in your shower that you do leave the plugs in, because if there's any smells from the grey tank, they can come through the plug holes. Also, some of the showers use this two-way tap. So it's for use for the hand basin, it's also used for the shower. When using it for the shower, press this button and that switches it from tap onto shower. Also, before you turn the shower on, just give it a bit of pressure before you pull it out, otherwise that hose can kink and block if you pull it too high up there. The other little addition in the shower, on the roof vent we have this little hanger for hanging up any wet clothes or wet gear, and it means it can drain into the shower rather than wetting the other parts of the van. Now, chemical toilet. In all of our vans we provide the toilet chemicals. They're either in one of these Thetford chassis sachets or a Dometic. These are the toilet chemicals. So, when you've emptied the toilet as before, take one of these. It's just like a washing up tablet. Lift the loose seat, open the flap into the cassette and drop one of these in. When that's done, hold the flush down and pump some water into the toilet so the chemical can break down and do its job. When that's done, just close the blade again. The same principle for using the toilet. So when you come in to use the loo, same as your domestic toilet, just lift that up, adjust the toilet into the position so you've got the leg space, lift that up, open the blade, use the toilet. When you're done, hold the flush everything away, close the blade. As we said outside, please make sure nobody puts excessive toilet paper or baby wipes at all in the cassette. Also, when we're on the bathroom, we do expect the bathroom and toilet to be returned to us clean as it's given to us, otherwise there will be a small valet charge. Okay? Also, please make sure the cupboards, and in particular this window, is locked before you drive off. That's it. That's how the motorhome toilet and bathroom works. So, driving your motorhome, the only thing we ask you to be careful of is obviously be aware of the height, but they're not too high, just be aware of height barriers. Especially when you're outside the major cities of Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham. The smaller towns have lots of height barriers to stop caravans, etc. parking in them. Just be wary of them, okay? The other thing is when you're out in the sticks, just be aware of the width, especially with small country lanes. Brambles, bushes, etc. can scratch the side of it, so we just ask you to think about your route a little bit carefully, especially if a campsite is off the beaten track. But the major thing I mentioned to everybody with our motorhomes is your diesel cap is at the front next to the passenger seat. Yeah, it's just here. It's very easy, just fill it up. But unlike your car, it's not at the rear of the vehicle. And what everybody tends to do is they fill the van with diesel at the front, they jump in, they're preoccupied with the kids, the route, getting back to us on time, etc, etc, and when they leave the diesel station they tend to turn hard right or hard left. This is where the overhang on a motorhome can catch you out, because you fill up at the front, you put the lock on, and the back bumper can catch the guard protecting the diesel pump. So I just say, we give everyone the same hint and tip, just be mindful when you fill in the van with diesel and you pull away from the pump, not to put the lock on, and just make sure you don't catch the back of the van with the pump. Apart from that, they're very easy to drive, and many of our inexperienced hirers actually come back and say they prefer it to a car because the vision and all-round driving experience is much easier, being able to see every corner of the vehicle and being able to see what's happening up ahead. So please don't be nervous, just enjoy the vehicle. And if you are nervous when you come to our site, we're on a 60-acre trading estate with a one-way system. Just drive round a few times until you really feel comfortable with the vehicle. When you do that, you're straight onto the main roads from our site, and by the time you get to your site you'll feel like you've been driving it for years. So enjoy the hire and don't fret too much about it. Right, we're just going to show a little bit of how the automatic works. Everything that the automatic van does, it shows on this little screen in the centre of your dials here. You can see that here. So you'll notice on the bottom, without the engine running, at the moment the van's showing auto 1. I can take the key out the ignition, and without any feet on the controls, the van won't start. You'll notice that it's telling me exactly what to do. So right front door is open, so we'll try again. Put the key in the ignition, try to start the vehicle, and again it beeps at you and it shows depress brake pedal, which means what it says. Put your foot on the pedal and the van will start as normal. You'll notice in the very bottom right of your display screen there that it says auto neutral. To change from that, we have the automatic gear stick just positioned to the left here, and you'll notice on there it's got a neutral, a reverse and an A/M in the middle. Now if we just pull that gear stick from the neutral position down to the centre position. You'll hear the van beeping, and if we look there, the screen is saying depress brake pedal and repeat operation. The van won't go into gear and won't move with this stick unless your foot is on the brake pedal. So, I'm just going to repeat the operation with my foot on the brake pedal. And we'll just pull it down there. And if we look there, the van has gone into auto 1. If I take my foot off the brake now, the van will start to move forward and accelerate as I touch the brake, the accelerator. To put the vehicle in reverse from this position, again, put your foot on the brake, come to a halt, get hold of the gear stick and move it into the reverse position. At this point, you'll notice the screen says reverse. At this point, the parking sensors become active and the reversing camera becomes active. When we want to commence forward again, just push the gear stick forward and again it goes into auto mode. And we know it's in auto because it's showing 1 with a small auto above it on the screen. In some cases you may want the gearbox to stay in a gear, i.e. when you're coming down a very steep hill or climbing a very steep hill. If this is the case, you can put the gearbox in manual mode. Just push the gear stick left once and you know it's in manual mode because on the screen here it now says 1. At this point, to change gear, you use this gear stick to go up a gear. So we've got second gear engaged, or down a gear, and we've got first gear engaged. To put the gearbox back in automatic mode, which is the best way to drive it, all you need to do is push it to the left again, and you'll notice on the screen it's gone to auto again. Very simple, and if you're not used to automatic gearboxes, as we've said elsewhere in our video, we're based on a 60-acre trading estate with a one-way system, and we recommend just taking a few laps around the trading estate until you're completely familiar with how to stop, start, change gear and manage the gearbox. When you come to park the vehicle, leave it in manual like so, and just turn the engine off and remove the key. This locks the gearbox in a gear so the vehicle won't roll away if you accidentally release the gearbox. You've also not got to worry about starting it in gear as you would a manual, because as we said at the beginning of this clip, it won't start unless somebody's foot is on the brake. And that's how you drive an automatic motorhome.